So Steph Curry was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and Gilbert asked him, "Are you the best point guard ever?" And Steph Curry said, "Yes, it's me and Magic Johnson." First off, check out Gilbert's podcast; it's very entertaining. He's one of those rare NBA guys who's just really good at what he does. So check his podcast out. So let's talk about Steph and Magic. So I never thought of this debate before because I never put, even though they're both listed as point guards, I never really saw Steph as a point guard. I always saw him as a short shooting guard. I always saw him like a shorter Reggie Miller. But he is listed as a point guard, so let's get into it. So I grew up watching Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson in his prime was a nightmare for teams. He was a 6'9" point guard who played like a 6'2" point guard because he based his game off of Earl DePearl Monroe for the New York Knicks in the 70s. If you needed rebounds, he can rebound. If you needed to score, he can score. If you needed assists, he can assist. Players who were 6'9", 6'10", who were centers and power forwards just couldn't keep up with Magic because he was too fast. He was too fast with the ball his size. Like there's nobody that could compete with Irvin when it comes to that height and that speed, except for Larry Bird. Larry Bird was slower than Magic, but as far as intelligence and the way he used the ball, he was there. The difference was Magic was a point guard while Larry was a point forward. In fact, be sure to check out Winning Time on HBO. Quincy Isaiah, who plays Magic, is amazing because he has Magic mannerisms. He has Magic's charisma. You know, it's fun watching him trying to convince Cookie to come to LA. It's interesting seeing that even though they made it seem like Magic and the Lakers always had a good time together in the locker room, it was hard on Magic because the veterans, a lot of them didn't respect Magic because Magic was the young guy. Season 2 is outstanding so far just because we get into the relationship between the assistant coach Pat Riley and head coach Paul Westhead. That is really good. So check out Winning Time. Season 1's on HBO Max or the DVD is out now. So check that out. But back to this debate. So an argument can be made that if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson could be the best player of his generation because Magic's won 5 championships in his time. Bird has 3. And then Jordan came through. It took a while before Jordan won, but then when Jordan hit, he hit hard. Magic Johnson made passing beautiful. No one was passing the ball like the way Magic was doing before he started doing it. Michael came along and he made dunking beautiful. Michael transformed everything off the court and off the court when it came to business. Michael Jordan is the blueprint for NBA players moving forward. But again, you take him out of the equation, Magic should be in the GOAT conversation. For some reason, he never is, right? Which is odd. And let's take a look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry, like Magic, has won a bunch of championships. Steph has won 4. Magic has won 5 championships. They both won MVPs. They're both generational players. Magic was a generational player from year 1. Steph was not a generational player for a while. Steph was from Davidson. He was short. He was small. He looked like he was 12 years old when he came to the league. But he could shoot, and that's because of his father, Dale Curry. Dale Curry was initially a draft pick of the Cavaliers. He played for the Cavs with Brad Daugherty and Mark Price, and I believe Ron Harper before Harper got traded to the Clippers. The issue was Charlotte was a new team. They had an expansion draft. The Cavs exposed Dale, thinking Dale would be back, but Dale got drafted by the Hornets, which was great for him because he became a Hornets legend and eventually became part of the broadcast team down the road. But also the main thing that happened in Charlotte is that Dale taught his sons and daughter how to shoot, especially Steph. Getting that type of tutelage, because Dale was like 6'6". He was 6'6", 6'7", and just had a beautiful stroke. Steph has that same type of stroke. He's just shorter with it, but his range is further than his father's. Like his range is Steph has a crazy range. He can shoot from anywhere. And his impact on kids is amazing because now you see kids shooting threes all the time, which is good and bad. It's good because kids are working on their shooting range and they're working on the outside shot, which is great. But most kids can't shoot like Steph. Most kids, even young ball players, men and women, should actually work on an inside game. They should actually work on the mid-range jumper because they don't have that same tutelage he had from his father. They just hoisting up threes, and the shooting percentage from the 3-point field goals are horrible. it's like you trying to sing a Michael Jackson song in the car, but then you realize you can't sing like Michael. A lot of these young folks think they're Steph and Klay Thompson shooting, and they're not Steph and Klay. But Steph's impact is amazing. But is Steph on the same level as Magic Johnson when it comes to point guards? So when you look at point guards of the top 10 point guards, I think it goes number one is John Stockton, number two is Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, LeBron is fourth, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson. Magic is seventh, which is crazy because Magic officially retired in '96. Oscar Robertson is eighth, which is crazy because he's been retired for over 45 years. Number 10 is Isaiah Thomas. And number 9 is Russell Westbrook. So all you media haters out there against Russell Westbrook, he's ninth all time in assists. Gary Payton is 11, and I believe Andre Miller is number 12. Magic Johnson has 10,000 assists. Steph Curry, I think, is the all-time three-point shooter. Steph Curry has 5,700 assists. He's 45th all-time. He's actually ahead of D. Wade, but he's behind Nick Van Exel. Nick Van Exel played for the University of Cincinnati under Bob Huggins, and he became a Laker later on. And Van Exel was actually a really good Laker. They just didn't win during that time period. The number 45 thing with Steph is interesting because he's 45 all time, which is a lot of assists, though he got 5,700 assists. Number 52 is Allen Iverson. Iverson has 5,600 assists, which is more than I thought. And the better comparison really is not really Magic and Steph. It's more Steph and AI. If you're looking for a scoring point guard, who would you rather go with, Steph Curry or Allen Iverson? Now, we'll take the championships out because AI doesn't have any championships. But Dwayne Wade went to the Hall of Fame. He says he wore number 3 because of AI. LeBron has always said that AI was like his favorite player, one of his favorite players coming into the league, that he's pound for pound one of the best players ever. And the only reason we don't talk about AI as much as we should is because of Steph. Just like with Jordan and Magic, if you take Steph out of the equation, most people will probably say AI might be the best short shooting guard ever than Steph Curry, but that's a whole different discussion. So who do you think? Who do you think is a better point guard, Magic Johnson or Steph Curry? Let me talk about the impact. I ain't talk about the impact of Magic Johnson. So the impact of Steph Curry has been more immediate because there's a lot of kids shooting threes. Magic's impact came later because there was nobody 6'9" outside of Bird and him that was dishing out assists until you saw Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway was 6'7". Then came Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose was with the Fab Five, was like 6'8". You had Tracy McGrady. He was like 6'8", 6'7", something like that. Lamar Odom. Odom was 6'10". Like, before LeBron, it probably should have been Odom. Like, Odom, he could rebound, he could pass, he could play center, he could play shooting guard, small forward, he could play almost like all 5 positions. The thing about Odom was he just wasn't as dedicated as Magic and LeBron. And he just didn't have the same type of discipline. But he had that same type of skill. Look at someone like KD. He's not a point guard, but KD is close to 7 feet tall. He can bring up the ball smoothly. Joker in Denver, he's a point center. And this Wemby kid for San Antonio, he's like 7'5" or 7'3", whatever he is. He brings up the ball like LeBron. He brings up the ball like Isaiah Thomas. Go back, if you have a chance, watch like old videos of Kareem in the 80s trying to bring up a basketball. He looked like a baby giraffe. And he's 7'4". You go like 40 years later and look at Wemby. He's so smooth with the ball. If Wemby puts all this stuff together, he'll be breaking records like nobody's business. But that's a whole different discussion down the road. So, if you had a chance of putting together a team, would you rather have Steph Curry or Magic Johnson? Or do you want to put LeBron in it? I don't want to put LeBron in there just because LeBron is not listed as a point guard. But he's the closest I see to Magic Johnson. So if the debate is LeBron and Magic, who would you choose? I would probably still go with Magic. Even though I'm an Akron guy, Magic was just so dominant, man. I don't think the kids understand how great Magic was. But is it Steph? Is it Magic? Let me know.